what all as a technical writer we need at different stages in our career. So now this session is less about career growth, although it's related to career growth only, but more about career counseling, as we have been seeing different kind of people are raising different kind of concerns also, and also they have question what next. Okay, so this session is especially for to answer such kind of questions where people have already shared some questions with us while registering. And then after that, we will be having an open forum also where we can basically just discuss, take up anything extra that comes up and just discuss. Mentors can share their insight, and that's how we will go with. So in today's session, first, of course, I will talk a bit about TechWriter's Tribe, and after that, we will start with a session. The overall session will be divided into 5 segments based on the segments that we have already shared on the website, and questions which people have shared before in the registration form. So we will be taking those questions as per the segments. And then after that, we will be having the open forum. So open forum is again for mentors to share additional insights. People who have joined this call, if they have some additional question, and in general, if it leads to some discussion, we will try to have that. But yes, the timeline remains the same, 1 hour. We will be closing at 11:30. And participants, you have this chat box here. So I hope you can access the chat in case when we are talking. And if you have additional thoughts, questions, or even if you want to share just thoughts, okay, you can use this chat and interact with each other. And yes, everybody will, because this is more of an interactive session. So please don't worry, everyone who is joining this meeting, and in case that person wants to ask a question, everyone will get an opportunity. Okay, but yes, keep your questions limited to career counseling. We are not here to discuss technical writing, which tool works like what. Okay, so this is very focused one. So first of all, to those of you who might be new here about TechWriter's Tribe, we'll just take a minute. In a jiffy, we will try to do this. So we are celebrating our 5th year, and some achievements that we have gathered in these 5 years primarily is basically we have conducted online events, we have conducted offline events, and overall conferences in 7 different cities of India, states of India. We have overall 22 conferences. Last September, we had conducted the last one in NCR, Gurgaon there. So in this process, we have got help from more than 220 speakers with multiple presentations, and of course our pillars, the volunteers in different cities who always try and come up with something new for the community. So overall, the goal of what we do is primarily to share, care, prepare, to make this community of technical writing stronger, where every technical writer can feel that, okay, they have some place where they can always get help. And of course, those who have knowledge come forward to share and help others. In case you are not part of the groups, then these are the groups for every major city and region. We have a separate WhatsApp group. Plus, more importantly, we have topic-based WhatsApp group. Even after this session, if you are not part of career growth career growth WhatsApp group, we will share the link. Please be part of that, where we can discuss anything related to career. Okay. And on behalf of TechWriter's Tribe, to help the community, we have been trying to conduct events almost every week for almost more than 5 years now. And as part of that, we have webinars, workshops, mentorship event. Like this is a mentorship event. This is the 15th mentorship event we are doing. And then we try to engage people with their mentor-mentee interactions. And of course, there are multiple courses and all that we do. In general, this is as we do try to conduct events every week. So this is our 293rd consecutive weeks of learning, right from week 1 on March 28, 2020. Now, conferences, you can see, probably you can relate. If you have never attended our conferences, maybe you can relate with your city. Kerala, we have conducted in Trivandrum, and in Gujarat, we have conducted two conferences in Ahmedabad. Now, in case you have this in mind that, okay, what do I have to help the community? So you see different options. Every effort of yours, whether you are a very junior tech writer, whether you are a fresher, whether you are a senior, and of course, whether you are a leader, every effort helps the community in one way or another. So try to open up. The only thing it needs is opening up rather than keeping things to yourself. Because tomorrow, if you need help, somebody needs to open up to help you. So that's all about Tech Tribe. Thank you for listening. And now we will get started. So what are we going to have today? So first, we will share the questions that we have received already as part of registration. People have shared. So I will ask the questions, and we have three wonderful mentors here, and they will be open to answering, and that's how it will go in between participants. When we are taking up segments, if you have additional questions, feel free to type in the chat. If I could relate it with the ongoing segment, I will ask at the end of that segment. If it's not related, then I will take it up in the end of the second half where we are having open forum. So total 5 segments we have. And here we have our mentors. So you might have seen some description here on the website also. So thank you so much, Tanvi, Sreelekha, and Sumedh for joining. And as all of you can see, so Tanvi is working as senior manager with Astra Labs in Bangalore. She has more than 18 years of experience. Sreelekha is with MasterCard, leading the team there with an experience of 15 plus year. And Sumedh, multifaceted, and even with us, he has conducted multiple workshops. He is one person, not our go-to person, but always probably he is always ready to handle any kind of mentorship. So kudos to him. And of course, as per his role, he has training, he is an editor, he is documentation specialist, and one foot is in Canada, other is in Pune. So it's like more of a summer vacation and winter vacation for him probably. So
Yeah.
so, yep, thanks again, Sumedh, for joining, and thank you so much, Tanvi and Sreelekha, for joining. Let's get started. So we have these 5 segments: current scope of technical writing landscape, interview, anything related to interview, then anything related to concepts and tools, and then AI ready. So, any thoughts, anyone? Shall I get started with the questions? Okay. And here comes our first segment. And in this, the first question is how to progress as a technical writer, as there are varied options. So in my view, what I gather from varied options is that in technical writing also, there are so many different kind of skill sets. So probably the question is uh, how to progress as a technical writer. So yep, I won't be taking name. Anyone of you can just pick it up.
Let me quickly start. Probably Sreelekha and Sumedh, you can chime in. The first and foremost thing is strengthening core writing. Clarity, structure, and tools will help a lot. Secondly, we need to expand the tech stack, which is the XML-based tool or Git or any markdown tools that we are currently using in our technical writing. Pick a specialization, uh, do what you want to do actually, say be it UX or be it core technical writing or be it architecturing of the whole documentation. So that was the third point. Also, process improvement, which is very important. If we have a set process and if it is not working, go ahead and make changes to the process. So without a documentation, any product cannot be released into the market. And I'm sure all of us, say a strong yes to that. So technical writing, documentation is quite important. So go ahead and do that. I know we do a lot of these back and forth and following up with the SME stakeholders and collaborating with all the teams. So this is very important. Show a measurable impact first, and then so you are not only a technical writer, you are a technical communicator. I think we have different forms. It is not only PDF documentation nowadays, it is a lot of these other things that we are working on, be it a quick tip, which is the most, accepted now, just a 3 or 5 minute video. So I think this was what I felt maybe a progression plan for yourself.
Yeah, agree with Tanvi for most of the points, and I think she's almost covered everything. I would like to just say that whatever is the latest trends that you're seeing, like now we are seeing a lot of this AI buzz going on. So try to find out more about it. Try to attend forums like TWT or other forums like STC Context and everything. So you'll have a little bit more idea what's going on in the market. So that will make you get something more on the table than what others are already bringing in. So especially when you work in the software industry, and there's a lot of collaboration that goes on with, say, the product management teams, development teams, and there are other forums that get conducted internal in the company too. So if you attend more and more of it, you will get to know a little bit more on what everybody else is doing, what other teams are doing, and if there's anything that we can bring into our documentation or specific to what we can contribute to as a technical writer, that's when you will get that extra value add, to you can bring that to the table. And other than the regular tasks that you're performing, which should obviously you can go over and above what you're currently involved into. So that is something where you can progress. The management can see, like, the efforts that you're putting in, and also you yourself would be having that extra knowledge which not probably everybody else would be possessing. So again, I could say in terms of writing too, because now we are writing to a multiple audience. It is not just, say, just the user or just the end user, but now we are writing for the AI, for the LLMs and everything. So again, a little bit deviation. If you find out something, say, by attending other forums, like what others are doing and how is it that you can also suggest something in your company, that's when your out of the box thinking and everything would actually be highlighted. So I would suggest, like, getting to all that, other than your usual role as a technical writer, is where you can explore further.
Right. So, yeah, Sumedh, you want to add something? Shall we go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, we have a lot of questions, so
Yeah. So,
we can
in
cover.
short, if I have to summarize these wonderful points, so I love one term called agile writer. Okay. So, in short, I will tell all the technical writers from juniors to seniors. Technical writer is the role, but try to become an agile writer. So, what the wonderful points that Tanvi and Sreelekha have mentioned, there are a lot of things to do, but you need to keep your eyes open. You need to grasp things around you and accordingly decide where do you want to go ahead. And like one of the points, like Sreelekha mentioned, that you may have certain strength which probably others may not carry. So pursue that. Don't just become another sheep. Pursue that. For example, you are really good in Doxas code. Be an expert. You see the market. There are experts are still less and demand is more. I have been observing for the last 6 months. There is one particular requirement called, I am seeing from different cities, Madcap experience in Madcap Flair tool. Now, this is a very basic thing, right? When we talk about the whole technical writing ecosystem. And those recruiters are coming back. I am talking about at least 5 recruiters from different cities coming back and telling me they are not able to find madcap people who know madcap Flair. They're not even looking at advanced level. And when people who are looking for job, when they are coming to me, okay, I said, why aren't you guys trying to learn it on your own? It's just a tool. You can learn it. People are looking for it. So, yep, try to be agile, see what's going on in market, where is the requirement, and probably adapt yourself. So, yep. Thank you, Tanvi and Sreelekha. And we go ahead with our question number 2. How to transition into customer success. Okay, so we have some questions so now which are related to transition from one part role to another. So this is one, how to transition into customer success and knowledge management from technical writing. Honestly, what I understand is customer success and knowledge management is one department, but in my view, probably it's more or less a bit related with documentation where companies give different name, but I'm not sure what exactly the question is. In case you are able to help, please.
Maybe
Go
I'll
ahead.
take a crack because I've worked quite a lot with customer success. It used to be called PSSO, Professional Services and Services Organization or something, which is
Okay.
basically post deployment or hypercare kind of environment. But I mean, see, in technical writing, you're writing manuals, installation guides, typically API, system admin, user admin guides, and all that. Customer success and knowledge management is nothing but writing for your, you know,
You went on mute.
sorry, I don't know. See, my hands are here. I don't know how that happened, but I mean, when I did a lot of these knowledge management things, what I did is I used to get the top 5 or 10 questions or issues coming into the support team or the help desk of my company and write articles on that on how to troubleshoot those. That's probably the most common use case of going into customer success with knowledge management. Another thing can be, customization guides. So you give out of the box deployment or implementation of whatever software your company develops, but then you tweak it, you customize it for working with different databases, right? And that is a customer success guide because you have to write for that particular customer. So these are all different branches of technical writing, and you can choose to go into knowledge management or customer success. And there are different tools like Freshdesk, Zendesk. Those tools are typically used by larger companies to do their knowledge management platform, where customers can search for a particular issue and find a solution. And the reason to do this is because you try to cut down the number of calls coming to your help desk, right? The more number of calls to your help desk eats up your bottom line of the company. So that is where you should be looking at.
Wonderful. So I think probably now with your answer, I'm getting the idea. So it's more about that KB, what we call in short form, right? It's more
Knowledge
about that.
bases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
knowledge based. Okay. Yeah, of course. Okay, so I hope this helps the person who asked this. Here is an interesting question. I would like to know how to grow in a technical writing team. I'm not an executor anymore. I do more of the coordination and project handling. So it looks like a different kind of question because the person is already doing something else. And now, so how can we help with answer here?
Yeah, I think out here, probably that person has grown a little bit more about the role of a technical writer and is not just handling documentation and has probably stepped up more into, say, a project management kind of a role. So, again, out here, like I can say, one is know your documentation set very well, even though you have you are more into coordination and project management now, you should still know the core documentation base that's available. Otherwise, what would happen if anything new comes in or anything that's done differently? That's something where you might face challenges. So that is first and foremost. You need to have your base work always done, like it has to be up to date. But again, now that you have moved forward, say, into project management coordination kind of a thing, this is something like you are stepping more into a leadership role, it looks like also. So I would suggest, like, maybe if you could take a little bit more of, say, leadership trainings. And if you're interested in that front and not just in the technical front, try to look into that scenarios where, you can do project management as well as people management, because that's some skill that you can acquire now that you have moved up a little bit more on your role. But again, if you are more technically inclined, I would suggest get to know about, say, again, like, understand what is the latest trends that's going on, try to implement that in your program projects, and try to show how you can evolve as a role. So even though there wouldn't probably be a role into management, there would be a role into, say, a principal writer, or into, say, another thing which is more about program management, project management, and other thing. Again, your coordination with the other departments, everything, you can check if you can enhance your role out there. So that will show that you are not just kind of looking into one team, one project, but you are like an overall asset to the company, and you can manage multiple departments also and coordinate well. So I would suggest look into both ways, into people as well as into the technical side of it.
Okay.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
quickly add one point to that. Since you say I would like to grow in a technical writing team and which you may not be a part of, what you could do is you might want to show your management or your peers that you're good at writing and you're interested in taking up such a role if you're not already in it. One thing you can do is look around and observe the processes that different teams, different projects are following, and document the process. Create a workflow, create a flow chart, write the different roles and the stakeholders involved, and show that you've understood, or whatever you've understood, write it, document it as if you're documenting a process or a procedure, and then show it to your management saying, this is what I've observed, this is what I can do with writing, and is there a scope for me to try my hands on technical writing? And that way you can shift into it and slowly grow into it once you're in it. So because the question is not very clear whether you're in as part of tech writing team right now or something else, this is another side that you could perceive this situation from.
Right. I would just like to add, I think, one or 2 points to it. To me, what it appears is the person is trying to say that, okay, the person wants to be a technical writer. So probably the person was technical writer before in whatever role, either in the same company or previous company. But now the person is not pursuing technical writing for whatever reason. And the current role is of more into project management. So first, I would say, ask yourself, which field do you want to go into? Okay, you can't think about career progression by stepping in two boats together. Technical writing in itself is a full-fledged field where there is a lot of career growth if you are a skilled technical writer. So if you need to learn skills, please do that based on the level where you are. But if you are interested in moving to other field, then as Sreelekha and Sumedh mentioned, just learn those skills and move on. Many technical writers have done that. They have moved from technical writing after some years to other. And background of technical writing always helps, like Sumedh mentioned, prepare those workflows and all. Because in other roles also, there is a lot of demand. Even in product managers, they need people who can write well, the PRDs, the specs and all. So, yeah. So,
Yeah, and I think with the project handling part which is mentioned, I think it's more of, a program management role, which would be really suitable, like, because there are a lot of certifications like PMP, Agile certifications, and everything else that can be attained and can show that because you have the experience, you also have the certification, which will help you to get, probably a little bit more aligned to that kind of a role.
right.
Yeah,
And this
and
is,
just to add a small thing, it need not be task execution always. It can be a strategic contribution to the whole ecosystem, and it need not be always task oriented. It can be result oriented.
yeah. So then when the person actually is saying, I'm not an executor more, I would rather say you are an executor more in the strategy part. So strengthen that. Right. So, yeah. Okay, thank you. And let's move on to how do I move forward in my career as an IC and become a valuable asset in my company? I don't have managerial aspirations. So basically, I think it's talking about how to grow in the career. I think we have taken that up already, right? In the first question. Or do you guys want to add anything extra to it?
Just briefly, as I said, if you want to grow in my career as an IC and become valuable asset, try to do a little bit more than you've been given. Like you might be writing the guide, but as I said, try to document the change management process that's going on around you. Try to document the help desk process. Uh, these are certain areas which I think I find a little bit in India, the change management or the customer success teams. I haven't seen a lot of focus given on that. And change management in itself is a huge domain. And there's a lot of stuff we can do as technical writers within change management. And every company, large or small, has a change management process. So you can do something like this, think out of the box a bit and don't just stick to your given task. Try to get outside of that task and contribute in other ways, in other areas. That way you can continue to become an IC, continue being an IC without going into the management, but then you're going deeper into the different aspects of technical writing.
Right. I just wanted to add on a little bit what we do at Mastercard. So in Mastercard, we have these different groups. Like there's an AI group, there's an information architecture group, there's a content excellence group that concentrates more on style guide and that kind of an updates. There's an API group that's concentrating more on what all updates can be done from the API front. And these are writers who are actually part of these groups. I would say if you want to evolve further as an IC, try to be a core member of this group. Try to be the person who, of such groups who gets in some value additions, who gives in more of, say, not just executing the work, but more on the suggestions part of it. So that's how where you will, become like a core member of or a person who has that particular knowledge, be it on say information architecture or and again, I think as an individual contributor, if the person is mentioning, probably that person has been quite a lot of time has been into the role as a technical writer. So that person has achieved, that kind of knowledge, what it needs to be achieved for, say, working on, say, data, working on other tools or anything else, or be it how to write, like, be it the style guide, like understanding they must be much, much aware of the style guide that the company is using and all. So try to become an expert, the go-to person kind of, wherein people know that, okay, if we go and if we approach this person, we will get the correct answer. So I think that's where you can shine, where you can show that like, okay, you can expand yourself even though you are in the technical writing department, but you can expand. And again, as Sumedh said, if you are looking into say other programs or other kind of say groups, that's something that you can contribute further, like say to customer success or the customer support or other knowledge management groups.
Yep, and I would also add one more work task actually from an IC's perspective, which I used to, those ICs in my team who used to be very confident of doing things, I used to tell them there is always this customer call going on, either with sales team or somebody, developers. They have a weekly or fortnightly call with the customers where in very few companies technical writers sit. Be that IC who dares to sit there, talk to the customer, get that what they are thinking, and first familiarize yourself with the situation, what goes on in those calls, and then slowly pitch in as a solution provider in terms of documentation. Then slowly ask, first just sit in those meetings, get introduced, then next time onward, ask them, okay, how do you feel about documentation? What all those things. So taking the bull by horn, that's the role of an IC. That's not going to be a manager's role. So we need some brave ICs there. So if you want to be that kind of something specific, do that. And if that role somebody performs and tomorrow even in interviews, you go and say that I did this, trust me, it matters a lot. Everybody documents, but very few people face the customers directly. So there are different things to be done. Yeah. Okay, so moving forward, one last question, I think. How can I position myself for a lead writer or documentation manager? So I think lead writer is already an IC, so probably we can talk about documentation manager. Any suggestions?
I can start. I mean, position myself as a documentation manager role. If it's within your own company, obviously you know what the team size is, what the work environment and infrastructure is. What do documentation managers do that individual contributors don't? They do budgets to try to see if you can reduce your costs in technical writing and be more efficient. How would you grow your team? What kind of um, tasks would you do more efficiently? How many writers do you currently have? Are you understaffed or overstaffed? Can you let one or two people go, or do you need to hire more people, write business cases or create business cases for different environments? If you're working on a specific tool like RoboHelp, Madcap, whatever, and you think it's time to move to a more CCMS, content management kind of an environment, create a business case for that and try to show that you're forward thinking, you can lead a documentation team and not just continue to deliver, but not only deliver documentation, but deliver a strategy, create a strategy, and come up with a uh, you know airtight business case of how you can move forward. This can be over and above what your manager is already doing. You can either give inputs to that person, as a succession plan, you will be part of that person's position. But try to look at what your current document manager, what the gaps are, what he or she may not be doing or may be missing, and that will give you a lot of leverage on becoming well positioned for that kind of a role, I think.
To just to add on a couple of points, be an advocate for your team. So that is very important. And you should always go to your leadership, talk about the team, what the technical writing team actually does. The general notion is okay, the writing team just takes all the information and just writes. That is not how it is, right? So talk about what a technical writing team does, give that visibility to your leadership, talk about what are the process improvements that you've done, and just be a people's person, be an advocate of what your team does over and above.
I would like to just add one more thing. Be empathetic. This is something which your team looks out for. So you would be good at your managing the project. You would be good at project management. You would be good at understanding technology. You're good as a writer because you have been in the writing industry for so long. But empathy is something that's most of the times where when it comes to people management and when it comes to growing your team, looking out, being there for your team, uh, that's uh, that's a skill which that needs to be built up on. So I would suggest start building up on that skill. Start showing your leadership that you are not just working as an individual contributor and just for yourself. You're also there for the team, like you are, again, as Tanvi mentioned, Sumedh mentioned. So again, be an advocate for the team. So what that shows to the management is that you are not just responsible for yourself, you are also showing responsibility for your entire team, and you are there for them, like whenever and whatever is required. uh, I'm sure the second part of it is like, be a copycat to your manager. I mean, it's not like, okay, you just have to copy or just look at what your manager is doing, but just observe. Be a very, very keen observer. What is all the other say? How do the other management team people? How do they approach situations? How are they in the meetings? What is it that like, build your succession plan, build up, like okay, this is something that if I am on this role, this is what I would do, or this is what I could do better. So what happens is, you already have a list of things that you would be working on if you are a manager, And then the next step is obviously in your one-to-one conversations with your manager, in your meetings that you have, say your global meetings or your other team meetings, portray that, show that up to the management that, okay, this is something that I feel can be done better. This is something that I would bring in a change to the current existing process. Again, in your one-on-one meetings, when you speak to your manager, let your manager know that you are inclined to this role. You do want to, step in more as a documentation manager, and ask them, what is it that I need to build up? What is it that will help me come up to this role? So that your manager knows that, okay, when there is a position that's available in the company, I know that who's the person whom I can look for. Like, so I would suggest make it known to the management. That's very, very important. And bring up that empathetic side of you, which will show you're good at people management.
Amazing points. I think anybody listening to this and who wants to be, if you just compile these points, certainly just do this and these things. And because based on, I mean, whomsoever is working anywhere, if you are working as a technical writer, even for 1 year in your company, you might be seeing the appraisal process, you might be seeing how people grow. You will notice all these points are valid. And being a manager is not a 1 month project job. All these things which all the three mentors have mentioned, it's a process where your activities differentiate you from others, where you are considered in a very simple, probably Bollywood kind of manager material. A manager material is different from an IC material. That thought process, and this is one thing which you can't sit on the table and say, no, 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 I am empathetic. I am this. This is something your actions are noticed and people will notice. And of course, one last point which Sreelekha mentioned, tell your manager that this is my aspiration. Many times we have seen cases where people feel that, oh, I'm doing everything, and actually they are doing, but they have never shared that aspiration with whomsoever, the manager, or at least tell them. Don't just think they should have known on their own. So yes, great points. Thank you so much. So I think these were the key questions that we have. So from the chat, I will just see some matching questions. So one question is from Ramya. What are the career opportunities for experienced writers having more than 10 years of experience? So my question to all of you is, whatever we have discussed so far, do you want to point out anything specific for 10 years plus?
I think I will just add 1 or 2 points to that. After 10 years, you don't want to become stagnant and continue being doing the same kind of things. You could start looking at other domains. You could start looking at other roles, like go into a more management role, continue in a more technical role, become a product manager or a product expert, go into agile and start becoming scrum. You can go into instructional designing, because we have worked with instructional designers most of the times, or more, a lot of us may have worked. You could go into training, uh, of a corporate trainer, because you are good at communication. So you can leverage a lot of these transferable skills and do a career progression after 10 years. Or you could change the domain completely and use your skills of technical writing into the upcoming domains, like cybersecurity. I always count on. I love cybersecurity domain. I worked in it, and that's a natural progression that you can go into without becoming stagnant. You're learning something new in a new domain while utilizing your own skills that you already have from last 10-15 years.
Great. Oh, that's a nice point. So, yeah. So domain specific, of course, keep an eye open for the domains, popular domains, and demand of domains also keep on switching from, uh, if not years to years, but at least in every 5 years, some domain becomes more important. Right now, I can think, yeah, cybersecurity is one of the most important things. So, yeah. Okay, so we have one matching question, but I will just read it out in case you guys think there is something different to answer. Fine, but I think it has been already answered. So Divya has a very long question. I am from mechanical engineer background, currently working in hardware. I want to step into software documentation, not into API and UX writer. Okay, so Divya, so first of all, UX writer is completely different. So let's not get into it. What are the skills required and standards required where I can learn on my own, and will companies, okay, where I can learn on my own? So I think the skills required to be a technical writer we have already discussed, or do you want to add anything else? She's coming, I hope, Divya, yeah, so Divya is coming from a different background where she is working as a technical writer in hardware field. Now she wants to switch to software. So her question is, she already has 4 years of experience as a technical writer in hardware industry. So she wants to understand what are the skills she should learn.
So I think Divya, you're coming from, in fact, a very complicated field, like say working in the hardware domain, where it's a very niche field, right? You need to you need to have that knowledge, industry knowledge, very very well to write even the documentation part of it. Or I'm actually not understanding whether you are say working as an engineer, or you are already a technical writer, or in the say mechanical engineering or aerospace industry, or what. I'm not able to make that out.
Shrivastava, no, she had mentioned below, and she has
Yeah.
4 years of experience in hardware domain,
Oh,
technical
yes,
writer.
yes, yes. Okay, okay, fine, fine. Great. So then I think you already have like the base setup of, what's it about documentation. All you need to do is understand a little bit more what is it about being a software writer, like, in the software industry, what is it that, what skills are to be acquired. So of course, the best part is, get in to some course, like for example, now what TWT is offering, something like that, to understand exactly what it is, as a tech, what are the tools that you need to know, or because the tools that you are probably using in your company is a little bit different from what is there currently. That could also be the case, or it could also be that you have mentioned, like, okay, not into API, but I would suggest keep yourself open. Don't keep it very very limited to, like, okay, I will not be able to perform this, or I'll not be able to work on this. Understanding that you are already working in such a complicated domain, for sure, moving to the software industry will be a little bit more easier for you, even I suppose, because if you have the right skill set. So getting to know all what are the current tools used, what are the type of style guide, because I understand the style guide also, that what you are currently following would be a little bit different what is followed in the software industry. So getting to know that, and 100% all these courses which are offered are the one of the best way to make a start to this. And then try to step into that role, get into the interview things, understand from other core co-writers from other companies, that what is it that that they are doing, how is it that they are performing, and then probably try to move your step forward in it. I would also suggest, like, get like, now we have documentation widely available, like, you'll find most of the companies have their documentation online. So go through all those ones, understand the way people perform, people write in the software industry. That's probably your one of your first few steps that you can take before actually landing on a job.
Just one point to add. Very good point, Sreelekha. You can use AI to learn about technical writing. You can ask it for differences between a software and a hardware writing. I think that it will give you a lot of good information to start off with, basically to understand how to progress and what skills you need to acquire to become a software writer from a hardware writer.
Yeah, I will. Sorry, yeah, this is a common question, but that's why I'll add one more point because it's a common question. A lot of people are thinking about changing domains. The changing domains can be over anxiety causing sometimes. कि कैसे जाऊंगा hardware, software, aerospace to suddenly API and manufacturing and healthcare and insurance and banking. Look at the basics. Just slow down, look at the basics, write down, create a list of transferable skills. What do you know in your current domain? Are you a good writer? What makes you a good writer? You do audience analysis, you do interviewing the SMEs, you interview your customers, you interview BAs or business analysts to understand the requirements. You're talking to your developers. In manufacturing, you might be talking to R&D or other kind of metallurgy engineers. Here you're talking to software engineers. So actually speaking, it's not heaven and earth difference, right? It's basically the same thing in a different kind of a tweaked manner. So don't get anxious or overly stressed about it. Look at the transferable skills, jot them down. That will give you a good starting point, and then concentrate on what is the delta. You know, what do you have to do? What do you have to know? And there, as the other two said, you can leverage AI to learn more about manufacturing or medical devices or whatever the new domain that you're looking into. And software is also huge. Software, you can be in SaaS cloud, you can be client server, you can be client only. Software in itself is a very common term, but वहाँ पे भी lot of pots and holes. So that's hopefully that'll give you a starting point and not get overly stressed out about it.
And I think also the basic differences, like when you're in a hardware domain, you actually see you actually look at things what you're writing, like you are actually physically seeing it, kind of a thing. With software writing is you have to understand the whole project, how it works, like right from start to end. So understanding that is very important. Thinking a little bit different from what you are generally, the way you work in a manufacturing industry would be slightly different from when you're working in a software industry. So understanding the whole product, how it works from start to end, understanding the SDLC process, understanding the various what to say programs that's used, everything, that's something going to be very, very important. So you have to shift that mindset, writing mindset.
And based on my experience with people who have been asking these questions, and as one of you mentioned, we run courses, so it's like what, in 3 years, we have interacted with so many people, hardware to software. Hardware is a broader category, but yeah, hardware to software. So some pointers I would like to say, and then of course I will also like to mention there are many managers in in software industry who simply say, I will not name the domains here, name the hardware field, but they simply say technical writers from this particular field, resume dustbin. They don't even see, okay? That's their ATS. So I'm not getting into this controversy whether it is good or bad. Everybody, but there is a reason for it, and I will tell you the reason. When we talk from hardware versus software, there are very clearly visible differences. First, as a hardware technical writer, people never work as a team. Technical writer, I mean. They are just sitting in one corner. They get the input. There is no scope of SME interview. You just get input. You have to draft things, sit there. Probably because it's a hardware. Now you are not going to test the aeroplane wings, right? So you don't even get to test it. You have to rely completely on that. And that's the way you are expected to behave. You can't change the system. That's number one thing. Number two thing, so there is no teamwork. That is where agile is missing completely. When you come to software field, and especially if you claim that you are an experienced technical writer, even of 1 year experience, the basic expectation of manager is that you are able to work in the agile environment. So that's the team procedure. Second thing is writing style. The writing style in hardware industry is completely different. I'm not saying a bit different, completely different from what is expected in software industry. So even if somebody is a technical writer, you need to understand. So like someone suggested, visit the website, software documentation websites, talk in the forum, figure out the differences. And then that's your preparation. Whether you join a course with an institute or not, that's a different story. Even for self-learning, self-learning is possible. Okay, I am running the courses, but I'm telling you, self-learning is possible. Like Tanvi mentioned today, AI is there. Everything, you can do that. The only difference between a course and self-learning is in course, you get some directions. In self-learning, you are on your own. But everything is possible. So second level writing style is completely different. So yes, tools are important, but the basic technical writing mindset is coming from the way you think and the way you write. That mindset is different in hardware versus software. Please correct me, Tanvi, Sreelekha, and Sumedh, if I'm wrong somewhere, but that's what my observation has been there in the batches that I have been running. And people coming from hardware industry, they don't understand this particular aspect, especially the mindset, that thinking mindset and the writing output. They always think about tools. Now coming to tools, so you all must have also seen most of the people working in hardware, they already work in that data kind of environment, not the data exactly, data kind of environment, because they use Arbor text editor. Arbor text editor is very popular there. But those people are not confident working with Oxygen XML, which is very popular in software industry. Very few people use here Arbor text editor, right? So that's the situation. So in short, I will say, to summarize, there are a lot of differences. Yes, being a technical writer in any field gives you a bit of brownie points. But then when you want to come to software industry, and yes, if you are a 4 years experienced in hardware, please don't expect to be counted that experience as 4 years in software industry, unless you actually showcase the experience which is expected from a 4 years of software documentation industry. So it's completely on you how much you learn it. Okay, so and please, all three of you, somewhere if I have been wrong, please do correct it.
I think you nailed it, Punit. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to say. And yeah, it's exactly what you mentioned. Like, it's that mindset change, it's that way of writing, everything. Like, and as you mentioned, the experience part of it, we always find like people, even though they mention they've come up with like, say, 4 years of experience, 5 years of experience, but when you actually go to question them on certain things, be it the test and everything, you understand the difference in writing, you understand the difference in they are looking at things and all that. So yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and honestly, that's
So
not
one
their fault. That's not their fault, right? They have been working in that environment. All I'm saying is learn this environment because you want to come into it. Sorry, Tanvi, please go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add to what Srilekha said. There's a lot of unlearning and relearning that is needed when you change domains. So when you change companies as well in the same domain, there's a lot of unlearning and relearning, which happens. But when you change domains from hardware to software or from aerospace to semiconductors or to, network, I have done this kind of shifting in my career as a technical writer. So there is a lot of unlearning that you do before you start learning something new. So that is very important. We cannot keep saying that, no, we used to do it like this way back then, and I'll continue doing it in the same way here as well. So that
Yeah.
is very important to unlearn and relearn.
And this reminds me, Tanvi's point reminds me about like switching, even as a software, for example, software technical writer switching from one company A to company B, for example. So I remember meeting people who are very, planned persons. Okay. When they are switching, they are targeting, say, one or two companies. For example, somebody is targeting Google. They will find out how exactly Google interviews this. They will give their full time in their preparing accordingly because the information is available publicly, many things. So, yep, even for the same, for the domain also, the same rule applies like Tanvi mentioned. If you want to switch, tell them what you are bringing to the table when you are actually giving the interview. Okay, so we have a lot of questions here also. And actually, as per the planned time, we have only 3 minutes left. So do you guys mind if we extend it by 15 minutes? Do you have time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we will take it a bit faster. And first, let's quickly, I will not take all the questions, but let's see, technical writing landscape. Under this, we have, okay, so this is, I think one of this question is there in the chat also. So, yep, could you please help here? How to be a freelance tech writer, how to code and take projects.
I have worked as a freelancer for 20 years out of my 30. Okay. And I have a lot to say on that. Maybe what I'll do, Puneet, I've done a workshop with you guys a couple of years back, yeah, with someone with STC. I think I'll just maybe share that recording, which is on the YouTube. You can watch it. There's everything about how to quote, how to reach out to clients, how to make sure you get paid, how to create a SOW and proposal of sub dollar hours. It's about 1.5 hours. So because
Wonderful.
I can't, you can't cover such a huge topic in anything less than 1 hour. So
Oh, certainly. Completely agree. And so, yep, people, so we will share the link. We will get the link from Sumedh. And in case if it's with TechWriter's Tribe, I will have that link. But otherwise, yeah, Sumedh, if you have it handy, please share with me and we will share. Divya, to your question here, if you want to switch to freelance tech writing, what is the market scope or demand? Sumedh already mentioned 20 years of his career. He is into this. I would also say there is a huge demand as long as you learn the right skills. And yeah, one suggestion I would say, when you are going for freelancing, please skip or please reduce interaction with Indian clients. Okay. Go to the forums where you find clients from abroad, because Indian clients, uh, it's not a very good experience, I think, for most of us, mostly. Okay. So it's not a very professional approach. Yes, there are exceptions. There are, so yeah, please go to, there are multiple forums. Okay. So yeah, so it is very much possible. And yeah, there are people who are making much more money than regular job when they are working seriously as a freelance tech writer. As a freelancer, I would say the only point is you need to be serious and focused. Okay, so it's not like today, this week I want to work, so I will do freelancing, 1 month gap, then again I want to come back. There also you need consistency and all that. Okay. So yeah, thank you. And okay, I think this kind of question we have already taken, so we'll skip. How can I switch from marketing to technical writing, pay scale, and remote opportunities? So I think we have already taken this kind of question. So yes, well, it's just that marketing, it's just so the
and
same.
sorry, on
Yeah,
question 3, I've also added, I've done a workshop on working as a remote writer. So
right.
that is also, I've added the link in the chat. You can watch that.
Okay, so
How to
people
get
who are
projects and how can promote yourself.
right. So thanks, Sumedh, for that. People who are here in the group in this meeting, you can copy that. Otherwise, we will be copying it and emailing it to you in the end. And remote opportunities, probably the point to add is, yeah, as far as I believe the companies are more going back towards office, at least hybrid. So yes, opportunities are a bit lesser. In case you guys have any other thoughts, please mention the remote opportunities. What do you mention? Okay, so aerospace, how to career transition we have already talked about, so we will skip this part. So that's about the technical writing landscape. There was one question in the chat here which was close to this, based on I think we will come back there. So what are the best practices to move from certification level competence to professional level expertise? I'm a bit puzzled by this question. Any of you understand this question? Last
Go
one. What
from
are the best
theory to
practices?
practical, I guess,
Yeah,
is to
Yeah,
practical
perform on the
skills.
job.
Maybe somebody who has so maybe somebody who has done a certification and wants to move into the industry as a technical writer. Is that what the question means?
yeah. I mean, that's what I think it is.
Or it
Um,
could also be that, there are some extra certification courses or something that they've done, which currently their company is not offering. And they want to move a little bit. I mean, want to say probably gain that expertise, but they're not able to. Uh, I mean, it could be various things, but again,
yeah. Yeah, so probably I think we can just think from this perspective. Certification level means yes, you have learned it. Professional level means practical aspect. You are yet to implement it somewhere. So I think probably the one answer could be yes, you will have to work somewhere to implement it, whatever you have to learn. So find your ways. Either it should be a job or maybe freelancing also, but yeah. But one additional thing here I would like to say is like when I have seen this people, the importance how to move. Okay, of course you will have to do practice, you will have to work, but to get that work from a certificate level, if you have never worked, uh, you need to have a portfolio. Then only you get, I mean, it's not then only, but it increases your chances of getting a practical job. So whatever you have learned, based on that, prepare a portfolio also. Segment 3, interview pain points and solutions. So here we have first questions. Any help?
How to get interview calls. Uh, I think most of us rely a lot on Naukri.com, jobs. Whatever websites, Dice, and I think you need to be very, very active on LinkedIn because LinkedIn, as I said, I was a freelancer for 20, 25 years in the US and Canada. And even after coming back to India about 8, 10 years ago, I have been doing a lot of freelancing. And 90 to 95% of my freelance opportunities come from LinkedIn. You should be getting at least 4 to 5 calls incoming to you from recruiters, from companies that are looking for freelancers and consultants. If that's not happening, then maybe you're on LinkedIn, but you're not utilizing or leveraging LinkedIn properly. So, how to get interview calls? Be on LinkedIn. I can show you my chat. I have about 5 to 10 opportunities coming inbound every week or every 2 weeks. For the last whatever number of years, so you have to optimize your LinkedIn profile. You have to be out on groups, showing yourself as a content expert, as the person who can solve documentation issues. There are lots of documentation chat groups on LinkedIn. Be very active on those. Try to, rather than ask questions, try to answer questions so that you become a brand of your own. Yeah, rewriting resumes, all that can help, but you rewrite one resume, it might work for one company, but not for the other. The other thing happens is everyone has a very cookie cutter approach. You send the same resume to 10 different companies, 10 different positions. That doesn't work, right? If you've done API and the other company is looking for trainer or a training documentation, your API API content may not have that much relevance. So tone down your API experience and focus more on the training content or ID or instructions and those kind of things. So you have to tailor your resume and you have to be very, very visible on LinkedIn. That is my take on it.
Yep.
I'm also wondering because you've mentioned that, they are using, I mean, the person is already using an AI generated and ATS scrutinize, which is nothing but an application tracking this, which probably softwares like Workday and all, they use this, an application tracking system. I know through that most of the filter words, like, if you have not used the correct terminology, correct used, say what is the requirement of the company, then probably your resume will not even reach the hiring manager, right? Because it's already filtered out. And when the ATS is doing it, they are probably, it's checking for the keywords. But what I'm not understanding is because the person mentioned that in spite of doing that, the person is not getting interview calls. I'm just trying to think whether it's like, have they gone overboard on this? Like, is it more of like what do you call like the keyword stuffing that happens? Has a person gone overboard and putting up stuff which probably see, we know software also is getting smarter. We know even probably the ATS software that particular management is using is smart enough to understand that these are more of filter words or these are more of so keyword stuffing is something I see a lot nowadays in resumes that's happening. over and above than what should be mentioned. I'm not sure if that's the reason. But otherwise, if you have probably, checked in all these fronts, your resume should get through the system. There's hardly a chance that, the ATS is going to reject it, or the system will not filter it and get it to your hiring manager's, say, system. uh, so that's something like, and based on obviously what the points that Sumedh has shared, and if you're already doing it, I'm sure you would be the you would gain an entry into the hiring manager system.
Sorry, I did want to add one very important point. A lot of companies are putting out ads because they already, or job posts, because they already have an incumbent that they have identified. Maybe it was a consultant who now is going to be converted to a headcount, you know. So all these jobs are there for full transparency, not necessarily for hiring. So there is something called, if you haven't heard, you should Google on it. There's a hidden job market. And the best way to getting interview calls is to network with people that you want to work in companies, you know. So if the best part is to find people that will tell you कि यार मेरे यहाँ job आने वाला है next month, someone is leaving, are you interested? Because that role may not even get posted. It won't reach jobs.com, naukri.com. It will get hired through referrals internally, because that's how the company saves a lot of money. Otherwise, they have to pay a huge sum to finders fee and recruitment and consultants. And 80% of the jobs today are not even advertised. And the 20 that are, barely 5% are hiring, because the others are just because they have an incumbent who's already been offered the job. So it's a vicious world, but don't please rely on, you see a job ad, send a resume, hope you get a call. In between, you wait for the next job to get posted. No, you have to do a lot of networking, a lot of back end stuff. Try to reach the hiring manager of a company, of a job, rather than send to resumes at company.com your resume and say, yaar, call nahi aa raha. That won't happen. You will not get a call if you do that, because there are 500 people applying for that stupid job, right? How do you stand out? You stand out by going behind, finding a back door and getting in front of your hiring manager and saying, boss, this is why I'm the best person. Don't waste your time with 490 others. Look at my resume, give me 5 minutes, I'll prove to you. And then go to your homework and go to the company. These are your gaps, these are your pain points, and this is how I can solve it for you. Easier said than done, but that's the process.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody has said it long back, but that's very true. Searching for a job search is no less than matchmaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Marriage
Except
matchmaking.
except this one's a
So,
contract job. Contract match. You know it's going to end after some time.
so yeah, you will have to look at different aspects. So many points mentioned. So thank you so much. Okay, so I don't think we need to answer the second one. How fast do you need to switch jobs? Okay, please don't switch jobs very fast. No recruiters like it when your profile shows that in 2 years you have switched 3 jobs without reasons. Okay. As a fresher, what can I expect in an interview? Okay. Any short answers to it?
Short.
Um, Learning curve, the hunger to learn, I think, is the key from my perspective.
Attitude.
Yes.
And one question as a fresher is, why do you want to get into tech writing? There's so many other jobs out there. Why this? Because see, as a fresher, most companies that hire freshers want to keep away from people who will come and go. You know, look at number two, the question. They don't want that to be the case for them, because hiring is a long-term process. It's a difficult process. After hiring, your training starts on the job, onboarding, and if you decide to leave after 6 months, then that 6 months is wasted. So why do you have to be able to impress upon the interviewer why you want tech writing, why that company, how will you what can they expect from you, and why will you stick with them for a longer term.
Wonderful.
And maybe if you can say, give an example of how would you describe a product, like if that is something, if the hiring manager understands well, okay, this person is actually able to explain a product life cycle kind of a thing, I think that will do the magic. I mean, for sure, if this person understands any domain, it need not be the same industry that they are applying to, but anything, that itself is like a green card, saying that, okay, this person understands technology, this person understands domain, and would be able to obviously contribute to it.
Wonderful. And I can kind of relate to the next question, not to the whole part, but the last line. How to relate my tech background with, technical writing. So how can I tell them that my background will bring value to their company? So in the same way, many other people ask, right, that I'm coming from a history background, coming from a commerce background. So again, this brings to that one point, like Sumedh mentioned, I think they should understand that you are serious about getting into it. It's not just a time pass for you, because you are not getting job as a developer or QA probably. So you are just, shopping. And the moment you will get the job there, you will move on. So you need to show that seriousness from whichever background you are coming in. So, but anyway, yeah. And as far as I understand, people coming from software backgrounds, B Tech and all, they are a hot cake in our field, isn't it? So, so I'm not sure. So, do you guys want to add any points to this last sentence? How can I convince the interviewer that my tech background will bring value to their company for technical writing?
So it's basically, you don't have to actually try to convince. The moment you showcase your knowledge, I think that itself is enough. Like, for example, I would say, like, somebody is a company looking for an API writer, knows very sure that a person coming from a development background will be able to understand code, will be able to understand, what the API documentation that they're going to be working on caters to, because you're obviously catering to the software development teams too. So in such cases where it's highly technical and all, of course, they are more than welcome. So if you can just showcase that kind of skill set that you already have, I think that's enough to get the message across to the hiring manager.
Yeah.
On this point, Punit, can I just share my screen for 30
Yeah,
seconds?
yeah, sure, sure,
I
sure.
think this will really help a lot of people uh, with the preparation. So, every time you go to an interview, show people that you have done your homework, that you genuinely are interested. So, I generally do. This is a very old company that I had applied for. I wrote down my points, what makes me a good fit, and I pulled points from the job description that spoke to my skills that I could offer in response to the job description. They wanted SDLC, they wanted the hats, help authoring tools, they wanted a certain number of experience, they wanted some training and, preparing training material. So these are the points that make me a very good fit. I used to teach technical editing at George Brown in Toronto. So I wrote it. I used to manage a team of 35 writers. So I wrote that. Then familiar concepts from various projects. So what are some of the things that I bring to the table from all my past roles? Not just what I've done in the recent past, but me as a whole, what am I bringing to the table? These are the kinds of questions that I said I need answers to from you, right? And just to jog my memory a bit on the interview, I I wrote down what that company did, just so I don't forget and I don't get confused. And I also wrote down, based on my analysis of the documentation website, I wrote down just one or two points of where I could improve their documentation without hurting their feelings, right? So if you do something like this, secondly, also, you can do something very similar to this. I thought I had it here. This was I was applying for a documentation manager role in a hardware. This thing, I've been in software all my life, but what kind of documentation have I done? What kind of electromechanical, electronics? Write these things down. What tools, templates, and standards, because it's a documentation manager role, right? So documentation strategy, templates, style guides, etc. Then technical training, writing, project management. So if you write these kind of things, right, and add up some recommendations from your LinkedIn. I mean, if you're applying for a manager role and you can vouch and someone else can vouch for it and say that, I would say Sumedh was one of the best managers I worked with. These kind of recommendations really go a long way. This also shows that you've come prepared to the job interview, and the kind of effort you have taken to learn about the job will take you a long way in that interview also. So that is also one way that you can show how your technical expertise are going to be able to be leveraged by the company. Don't leave it to the manager to figure it out. Give it to them. Very plain and simple.
Puneet, you're
Punit,
on
you're on
mute.
mute.
So,
Yeah,
so that's a
happens to the best of us.
detailed one. Sorry, that's a very detailed one that should help a lot. I think very valuable points. How to approach basically. And I would, if I can, I love using some terms. So I can say be aggressive. What Sumedh is saying is be aggressive. Attack them rather than being attacked. Attack with whatever you have, all that information, rather than waiting that okay when they will ask. Many people I have when they asked me this question, I said, "Do you ever share portfolio sample?" No. When they will ask, then I will share them. What are you sitting? You are sitting on a treasure. Don't
Yeah.
wait. When you are applying, just give the link. It's on them whether they will see it or not. Okay. So yes, attack with the best armors. Okay, so now we have already crossed another 15 minutes. So very quickly, I think my pick in this segment will be just one second question, which can cover all. Is skills to be ready for future trends? So maybe one or two skills, all of you can just mention the names and something if you want to, if you have something in mind. Skills to be ready for future trends. I think that covers question 3 and 4 also. AI, of course. You're on mute.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was just saying AI, of course. And then prompt engineering is something that, is necessary to use AI effectively. I would say that. Maybe learn a few scripting languages like Python, which will help you automate the stuff that you're doing.
Yep.
Few
About
things
10
that
years ago, we used to double the volume of content every 7 years. I think that would have drastically reduced to like doubling every 1 to 1.5, 2 years. I think information architecture is a huge skill that could be used going forward, because we're generating so much content. Content is useless if it's not readily usable at the right point. So that could be one.
Yeah, I think other than all these skill set for even in terms of say domains and all, like for example, cybersecurity or say anything to do with say sustainable ones, because right now with the AI and all these systems, cybersecurity is too much under attack. So there's a lot of it's really become popular, and there's a lot of demand for such kind of writers in these domains and everything too. So I would say like maybe you can acquire some domain knowledge and understandable on all these things also, and so that it's useful for you like when you are looking into say a more a generic area of other industries too.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
point.
and sorry, go ahead, please.
No, no, go ahead, Smith.
So, yeah, as Sreelekha, you were saying, cybersecurity, again, that becomes a huge field. So, I'm going to type a few things that you can search for, like if you know about NIST 800 or FedRAMP or SOX, not the SOX by Oxley, but SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3. FedRAMP certification is CMMC certification, which is a cybersecurity maturity model certification. These are all, and you don't have to do these expensive courses and get the full, cybersecurity practitioner certificate. But we're talking about being aware of what's happening out there, right? So I'll write down some of these things that you can search on. That'll give you a lot of pointers to progress with that, exploring that field.
Right. Yeah, so I was just saying that all these points remind me of one more point which I have learned from leadership discussion, I think probably in Bangalore conference. Mastering the art to write conceptual topics. AI is doing everything. AI is writing very beautiful steps. Probably very few of us can write that beautifully. And of course, don't talk about American English and all. It's already American English. Everything is there. But in whatever happens, there is a requirement to break the product into conceptual information. Everywhere you need to write that data part, concept topic. That AI can still not do unless even if it's completely merged into your product, then also that human touch is required so far. Later on, what happens? So master the art of doing that, and probably that will be also one good thing to do. Okay, so yep, so this is about the concepts and tools. And yeah, tools and all, there are many tools, people. So we can keep discussing that in the group. We will quickly move on to the last segment, getting AI ready, how to be AI ready with AI tools, reshaping documentation. Well, what new skills or approaches should technical writers start developing to stay relevant and future ready? Okay, I think both the questions technically mean how to be AI ready. So any thoughts?
I would say start with your what your company is already doing, what your company is already providing. Try to understand a little bit more on that. Like for example, if it is as basic as okay, they are using Copilot or some other LLM on their own, or say other departments they are using a different type of LLM. Try to find out further what it is about and build that skill set. Don't just be an observant. Try to get into it. Try to master those skills. As Tanvi rightly mentioned about prompt engineering, I think that's one of the most important thing because now when AI can look, for example, you want to say build up XML tables and which would generally take a little bit more time when you are doing it like in Oxygen and all. This is something which probably with Copilot can be done in seconds, right? So getting to know the correct prompt that will help you generate this kind of information or these tables, or for example, be it to do anything with summarizing information, be it anything to do with the image creation also. Like we are all as technical writers are used to creating videos, images, but with the AI thing that is now gone a step ahead. So getting to know all that, that's very important. Fiddling with the technology that's available to you, that's probably your first step. And then of course seeing what is available in the market and exploring other tools is something where can be your first step to AI. Again, discussing with the group, that is also very important. Discuss with your peers, discuss with other core writers in other companies, understand more. That's probably could be your first step to develop AI skills.
Right. Any other thoughts? Okay. So yeah, so I think that's the way to be AI ready. One point I would like to mention for the last question, which I see in the age of AI, what kind of skills should I acquire? Okay, so my answer could be funny because it's not very, I am not going to name, but based on the behaviors that we see in our community, I'm saying LinkedIn, our groups, and other forums, what kind of skills your skills need to change from just being someone who could name the things to be someone who could implement. You need to be an implementer. And there are a lot of AI based tools solving different purposes of technical documentation from content to strategy to delivery. At every level, we have already had multiple sessions on that. Every level provides different tools. But the question is, in your organization, when the need arises, who is the person who is suggesting? Everybody doesn't know the name of those tools. That's number one. So are you the person who needs the name of those relevant tools? Number two, how a particular set of tools provide a solution to your requirement. There are hundreds of tools. Probably 2 to 3 tools may be required by your organization. which 2 to 3 tools are those, how those can be implemented. You should be preparing yourself to provide solution to that, rather than just saying, okay, prompt engineering, yeah, chat GPT is there, Gemini is there, blah blah is there. You should be the person who should be actually doing prompt engineering, then telling the team what is the benefit of doing it, how to do it, how to get ready for it, rather than just reading 4 LinkedIn posts about it and then coming back and just sharing with your team or manager that, okay, I have heard about this beautiful bird called prompt engineering. If we do that and then manager asks, okay, can you take the ownership? And then, oh, no, I just heard about it. So yes, all I'm saying is, I think somewhere one of you also mentioned about this change of attitude. Look, tools will come and go. AI will not go away, but the impact will subside. But all we need to do is change the attitude, be the implementer. That's what I feel. And this I am telling by experience. And my experience is, you all know that since we conduct all these events, I always keep on, I can use the word hunting. I always keep on hunting for good speakers and people who have done things. And of course, on my LinkedIn, there are so many posts and all I see. The moment I see somebody writes, hey, this is a very good concept, blah, blah, blah. These days they have slides and everything. And I ping that person separately. Mostly, if I have time, I will ping that person. Can you share some information how it is done? It will be great. And if the person says yes, I said, okay, will you be comfortable sharing a demo, what you have done here? Trust me, I'm not blaming anyone. 99% times I have got the answer. No, Punit, actually, I just read it somewhere and I thought of sharing the information. But the image that you are projecting to the world is that you have actually done it because you are writing the whole process. So please, if you want to really excel, it's not about surviving. Excel in this world right now also. Learn, try to implement, and most of these things come free. So initially nothing will cost you. So yep, long story cut short, just don't be the person to be able to name those things. Learn, implement, and tell your team how to do that, whichever role you are into, and see how your value, you will become that stock, suddenly your value shoots like this within the team. So yep, that's all. I think the questions, and we have again royally. I actually reduced the time from 2 hour to 1 hour, thinking there are less questions, but yeah, very nice answers, and that's very nice. And still, we have to skip some questions, and unfortunately, we won't be able to take the questions right now in the chat because it's already 12. I can't delay more. And but yeah, one thing I would like to share with the people who have joined, especially from the slides, I got one thing for you. So we are skipping this part. For this part, rather, I would say please join that career growth group. The questions
Punit,
that
did you
have
want to
not
share the screen? Sorry, your screen. I had stolen the screen sharing, so
Oh, right. I'd completely forgot. Thank God you
sorry.
told me. And I am thinking from that time that, okay, I'm sharing it. Okay. So this, I hope it's visible now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this part we are skipping, but instead of that, you can use that WhatsApp group. Please ask your questions. If it hasn't been answered yet, copy paste it there. We will try to answer it. And of course, the discussion can continue. This one thing, this is not a thing which I want you to do here, but probably you can take a screenshot. Ask yourself. This is just for yourself, okay? First, the tough question should be asked by yourself. You should get the answers and then come to people for suggestions, guidance, and everything. And when you are answering these, be very honest. Don't assume things. At least for yourself, never assume things if you want to really grow and learn. So, where am I today? Think about it, right? Where do I want to be in 2 years? See if you can plan your things. What do I know? At present, what is your skill set? And when I say skill set, I'm not at all talking about what you mention in your resume. Please mention that. If you are, for example, for interviews, we may write, okay, good in this. ask yourself, are you really good in it? At least for this purpose, be honest with yourself. And then skills or tools. When I say skills, I never mean only tools. I always think that technical writing, what we write is just an output. But that specific kind of writing comes from here, the mindset, the way we think. So thinking, content strategy, and all. So try to do that for yourself and feel free. Don't feel ashamed. Share your result in that career growth side, WhatsApp group, and then let's take the discussions further. Together we will learn. So, any
And Punit, this is
thoughts?
actually this is a very common thing we call the IDP, the Individual Development Plan in most companies. I was going to mention it sometime back, but because of time I didn't. It's a good thing you did. But this is a very good tool for you to keep yourself true to your career plans. If you don't write it, it's never going to happen. So you can have a short term, long term, 2 years में क्या करना है, 5 years में क्या करना है, and do a stock check every 6 months. Maybe share it with your colleague, friend, sibling. So they ask you, भैया किधर हो, क्या किया. So it's not an endless goal, but you're actually acting on it. It's a very good tip. Thanks.
Right. Okay, so any parting thoughts, Shrivastava, Tanvi? From my side, thank you so much. And all those insights were great. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and hope whatever information we gave out is, really useful for everyone. All the very best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the very best, and thanks everyone. This was a great session, Punit. Great questions, and hope we were able to, do justice to the questions that were asked. And yeah, glad to be available whenever such opportunities are there.
Wonderful. Yeah, certainly. Yep. Sumedh, anything to say before we wind up?
No, I think, I can't commend TWT enough on these exercises and these things. I think it really helps a lot, and what you're giving to the community is priceless. So these sessions should happen regularly, and, I hope more and more people join and take benefit of these sessions.
Certainly. Yeah, that's why we have so many groups. So let's see. I hope people who want to discuss more can continue the discussions there in the WhatsApp group. And we will try from our end, we will try to make it a habit to at least conduct it once in a quarter. So yeah. So thank you again, Sumedh, Sreelekha, and Tanvi for joining. And have a great weekend ahead. And thank you all participants.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good weekend. Bye.